Welcome back. I'm here with Football League editor Pascal Lemaire to talk about Friday night's championship match between Reading and Ipswich. Start with the visitors, Pascal. First defeat of the season last time out, knocked them off top spot.
Yeah, it was a big game for them. Obviously, Brighton going there. Back then, it was Ipswich at first, Brighton was second. It was a big top of the table clash, and Ipswich tend to have a really good home record. I think they were unbeaten in 10 at home before that game, so it was a big surprise to see Brighton go and win there, and especially in the way they did as well. Two quick goals in the first half to go 2-0 up, and then you thought the game might have been out of reach, but it was the third goal was really important. Ipswich did get it to pull one back, and then they soon got the second. And at 2-2, sort of midway through the second half, you thought probably Ipswich being the home team, being top of the table. They'd won 5 in a row before that game as well. You thought they'd be the team to go and push on, but Brighton quickly got the third goal through Hemed, who scored both goals in that game. And Ipswich they didn't really deserve it, to be honest. They had a couple of chances late on, but it was Brighton with a better team in that game, and they just fully deserved to win that game. So it's a disappointing result for Ipswich, but they're still sitting third in the table, just 3 off the top. And I think for them, they're scoring goals quite freely this season. They've already got 10 in 5 games. They've scored 2 in every single game, actually. And if you, I think if you go back to last season as well, they've scored 2 goals in 7 games in a row in the Championship. So they're not struggling for goals, but they've just got to keep more clean sheets. And I think they should be sort of in and around the top of the table come the end of the season. They signed Tommy Orr as well late on. That was sort of just before the game. He couldn't play in that game, but he's an Australian international who was linked with Athletic Bilbao this summer. And it's surprised to see him. He didn't go there. I think he could have gone to Bilbao because he's got Basque grandparents or heritage there. But I think the club Bilbao decided that he wasn't Basque enough to join them, so he became a free agent. Ipswich just signed him. He's an Australian international, so he could be a good signing for them. And it was a disappointing defeat there, but they're still sitting third in the table, and it's been a good start.
That's for Reading. They're unbeaten since the opening day, but still in the bottom half.
Yeah, they're sitting 13th. Yeah, I mean, that opening day defeat you mentioned, that was at Birmingham, where they played pretty well in that game, but they just couldn't quite eke out the win, and then they lost 2-1. They should have got a draw. They missed a 98th minute penalty, I think it was, but last time out, really important. They got their first win of the season because they'd drawn quite a few games, but they went to Brentford, who haven't had a great start to the season, and picked up a first win, important 3-1 victory on the road, very good for them. And whereas Ipswich didn't really do much on deadline day, Reading were quite busy on deadline day. They signed Piers on from Chelsea as part of the Michael Hector deal, because Hector, of course, one of their best young defenders, he's been signed by Chelsea, but he has been loaned back to them for this season, so that's good for them. They've got him back. They got Vidra from Watford, which is a fantastic signing. I know Vidra, he's been so influential for Watford the last 2 seasons they've been in the Championship, but earlier on this summer he signed a 5-year contract with Watford, and you thought, right, he's going to be an important player for them in the Premier League. But with Deeney there, Igalo, all the other signings Watford have made, Vidra's just been sitting there on the bench, and they've managed to sign him. He's a great signing. They brought in Ola John as well from Benfica, which is you'd say just on paper looks like another great signing. So it's been a solid start, like you say, unbeaten since the opening day, and with those signings they brought in, Vidra especially, they should now be able to push on and maybe go through a top half.
What's your score prediction for this one?
Yeah, it's a really tight game, tough game to call. I think Reading, they'll be very confident after that win last time out, but then you get the 2-week break and you sort of almost lose that momentum. Whereas the international break probably a good thing for Ipswich because they suffered their first defeat. So I think these two sides are really tough to separate. Ipswich not as good on the road as they are at home, so I'm going to have to go for a draw here, 1-1.
Sportsman going for a 1-1 draw.